So something really big just happened with Bitcoin, and it's about to be in everyone's portfolio, whether you like it or not. And I'm not even being hyperbolic. MicroStrategy is on the verge of joining the S&P 500. So if you don't know what that means, when a company gets added, index fund managing trillions of dollars have to buy a stock to match the index, which means billions in passive cash flowing in, boosting the stock price. So MicroStrategy, which is now called Strategy, but for this video, I'm just going to keep calling it MicroStrategy, holds more Bitcoin than any company out there. And as of June 29, 2025, they got 600,000 Bitcoin worth over $64 billion at today's price of $108,000 per coin. They bought these at an average price of $70,000 each, spending 42 billion total. And as of last week, they picked up another 5,000 Bitcoin, making their 12th straight week of buying. And their stock MSTR is up 27% this year with 20% Bitcoin yield in 2025. This is pretty amazing considering that the S&P 500 yields an average of 15% a year. So they're beating the S&P 500 by almost double. And if you've seen any interview with Michael Saylor, you know that he's 100% all in on Bitcoin as their sole treasury asset. And it actually worked out really well for them so far. They made over 500 million in net income just last quarter. And now this is why it's such a big deal right now. This all puts them at the prime position to be included into the S&P 500, which tracks the 500 biggest US companies, and it's in your 401k, your ETF, mutual fund, and so on. So when MSTR gets added into the S&P 500, index funds managing trillions of dollars have to buy a stock to match the index. That means billions will pour into MSTR, which will then pump the stock price up. For MicroStrategy, this is huge because their balance sheet is basically Bitcoin Vault. The more money in their stock, the more cash MicroStrategy has to buy Bitcoin, which could tighten supply and push prices even higher. So let's quickly take a look at the requirement you need to get into the S&P 500. To get in, you need a market cap of at least 18 billion, have US headquarters, have high trading volume, and show positive earnings for the last 4 quarters, including the most recent one. MicroStrategy has all of this. For example, their market cap is way above 18 billion. They're US based and their stock trades like crazy. The only problem used to be that their Bitcoin profit wasn't all there because the Bitcoin price was so volatile. But a new rule lets them value Bitcoin at the current market price, which essentially flipped their books into the green. And for them to overcome this last Bitcoin hurdle, they needed the Bitcoin price to stay above $95,000. And as of right now, the Bitcoin price is about $108,000, which is way above that threshold, and they're already in the Nasdaq 100, which gives them extra credibility. So when MicroStrategy joins the S&P 500, billions will pour into their stock from index funds. And since they hold $64 billion in Bitcoin, that's indirect Bitcoin exposure for anyone with an S&P 500 fund, which pretty much is your retirement account, your ETF, and so on. So another thing to note is that Coinbase was just recently added to the S&P 500 in May 2025. And if you take a look at their chart, it is trading over 80% since that happened. And MicroStrategy being the biggest holder of Bitcoin per share, what do you think will happen to their stock price? And we already saw other companies like Metaplanet copy the MicroStrategy strategy and their stock price absolutely skyrocket. So overall, this is a pretty big deal. It is a game changer for both Bitcoin and MicroStrategy to be included into the S&P 500. Bitcoin is about to be in everyone's portfolio, whether you like Bitcoin or you don't. Billions will flow into the MSTR stock, and MicroStrategy will keep buying Bitcoin, boosting both price and demand. Actually, we've never encountered a product that as the demand goes up, the supply remains the same. Because even if you think about gold, as the demand goes up, they will mine more gold to match the demand. But Bitcoin is unique that no matter what, you cannot increase the supply, and it's programmed to decrease with time. So this is very interesting to see what will happen to the price of Bitcoin and the price of the stocks that hold Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Logic will tell you that both will go up, and we may see some type of supply shock as The demand keeps going up, but the supply does not change. Now, since I enjoy doing technical analysis on this channel, I'll show you what I'm currently looking at. But please note that this is not financial advice in any way. I'm just sharing stock that I find interesting for education purpose only. And please do your own research. So the stock that I'm looking at is MSTU. This is a 2x leverage on MSTR. So if MSTR goes up 5%, MSTU will go up about 10%. And when we take a look at the chart, it looks very healthy with a 50-day moving average trending up. It just needs to break this $10 resistance so we could potentially see it test the previous all-time high, which would be an insane 3x from here. So that's it for this video. I want to share some very exciting news about MSTR and how it will affect Bitcoin, and show you a stock that I personally find interesting that may benefit from this news. If you made it this far, please do me a favor, leave a like on this video. Also, please subscribe to this channel and turn on your post notification so you stay updated on the latest information regarding stocks that I find interesting. And I will see you on the next video. Thank you.